in the table. They're now level on points with West Ham, and I'm sure looking up the table at the teams, they might catch Leicester down to 10th place. And there's so much more to come. What's the most disappointing thing for them today?
Obviously the goals, conceding the goals in the manner that they conceded the goals, but a lot of positive to take from that. The tempo was better after, obviously, they went 2-0 down. The tempo was better. They created 8 good chances. And on another day, they'd have scored a couple of goals, at least a couple of goals.
Yeah, just couldn't get that goal in the second half, mainly down to Aaron Ramsdale. A 2-0 victory, a 2-0 win for Arsenal over Leicester, thanks to the goals from Gabriel and Emile Smith-Rowe and an inspired performance from Aaron Ramsdale. The Arsenal goalkeeper, the man of the match, is with Des Kelly. A fantastic day for him. He's a big personality as well, isn't he? Is that just what Arsenal needed?
Without doubt. You need a character. You know, I was always fortunate to play with some fantastic goalkeepers. I really like the way he analysed and assessed his opponent in Maddison, who was familiar with from the 21s. He knew the possible angles, and all that helps in those calculations. So that was just really good intelligence. And he looks like a real character. And the fans now love him. You know, it helps when you're throwing shirts into the crowd, but it certainly helps more when you're pulling off outstanding saves as he did today. And
he made a series of outstanding saves today, didn't he? Though it was one in particular at the end of the first half.
Fantastic saves, yeah. When you're looking at what he's actually able to pull off these saves, and I think he gave the ball away for this one initially, but then to actually have the spring from Iheanacho, everyone's thinking it's in, but he gets a little touch on there and pushes it past the post.
His feet are really, really quick. You see that adjustment he makes across there. Great reactions, determination, of course, but look at the speed of him. To get across to there, he thought maybe it might come the other way, leaves the goal open, and just about pulls off that save. I mean, Peter Schmeichel's saying, isn't he, that's the best save he's ever seen.
He's seen in years.
That's incredible, incredible praise.
He tweeted that's huge praise from him, and then they just kept on coming, Emile.
Kept on coming, and he kept on standing up to them. Not going down early, being brave, because again, when you got a goalkeeper, when you got a player bearing down on you, sometimes you just fling yourself at it, and this is what he does time and time again. But you got to be brave with it.
I make the point though that, you know, on average last year he was made the second most saves last season, and his average was 4. He made 8 today. He's happier being busy, and the really classy goalkeepers might have to do this once or twice in a game. That's the next step as Arsenal progress and get better. But he had a lot to do today, and Arsenal are thankful for that he was pulling off those saves. But in the future, let's minimise what the goalkeeper has to do.
And that's huge praise from Peter Schmeichel, especially when Kasper's on the other team.
Yeah, imagine the argument that they're going to have next time. But no, fantastic when you've got such a goalkeeper like that praising you about the display that you've had.
He says he wants to be England's #1 by the time of the 2022 Qatar World Cup, and he looks like he's on the right track.
He does. He does his talking for me on the pitch. He's only played 7 games for Arsenal, albeit they've been very good. But he's a long way off doing that. Pickford is currently in charge. But if he keeps performing as he does, then it can happen for him. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely. And that centre-back pairing as well, Martin, going from strength to strength.
Well, they've been involved in the successes since that heavy defeat at Man City. Gabriel, Ben White, forming a really good partnership. You know, for me, they've got everything. Gabriel, particularly balls coming in the box. Amount of times, I think he had the most clearances today. Really strong defensively and aerially.
And he got a goal today as well. Emile, what did you think of his header?
Yeah, fantastic header in the end. But again, when you look at the marking, allowing him to have the room to attack, but then Leicester have the actual players around there, but no one really goes and attacks. But then again, if you always have a run on someone, I back myself, to be honest.
He wanted that, hasn't he? He's improvised, of course, he's turned his head, but he wanted it that little bit more than everybody else.
It was a flying start. That was the opening goal. Arsenal now unbeaten in 7 in the Premier League, and we can hear live now from Mikel Arteta with Des. Yes, they haven't lost since that defeat to City over 2 months ago now. How much credit does he deserve, Emile, just for how well coached they look as well?
Again, I think a lot of credit, because, again, he stuck to his guns, he stuck to his philosophy, and it's paying dividends now. A lot of people were talking about the players that were coming in, were they good enough, but giving them the chance. And having the backing of the manager, and Martin, you'll say as well, when you've got the backing of the manager, it gives you confidence, and then you go out and perform, and this is what you see in the end.
But they lost the first 3 games of the season, and they looked really, really poor, and now they don't. They look really solid.
Solid with the back four and the back with a 4-4-2, and there's no space in between them. And this was a formation that really, really worked. But when they won the ball back, can they break? And they broke at speed and in numbers. You're looking at Lacazette was a fantastic in there, just in them pockets, enabling them to actually break after winning the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I particularly like as well the way the fullbacks actually look. See how they covered it. Tavares just nipping in there instead of being stuck out wide. He came back in, never really far apart. Tomiyasu as well, shutting that door. He's in there, Vardy. These are really important details that are obviously they're working on the training ground. And every time it came in the box, there was an Arsenal head on the ball. So there's pride in their performance. So the manager there is obviously doing a very, very good job. He's saying all the right things because he knows it's baby steps really to get back to where they want to get to.
But are you starting to see that consistency in the performance?
It's been coming. It's definitely, last week was the best performance of the season. This is the best away performance of the season for me, by hands down. And it's about building from that. Pats on the back will come now. How do the players deal with that? Because it's not about, you don't want to get carried away. I think it helps that, you know, you look at the opponents today. Leicester are playing in the Europe, so they're playing a lot more football. Arsenal essentially playing one game a week, and that is good time for him to work on the training ground, and he's making really good use of that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, they haven't got European football, so seem to be benefiting from that time on the training pitch. Well, a setback for Leicester today after a good couple of weeks for them. They've lost a bit of momentum. Let's hear what Brendan Rodgers made of that. He's with Des. Yeah, Brendan Rodgers not happy with what he felt was a clear foul by Saka on Samari in the lead up to that first goal. How did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it as a foul, to be honest with you. Samari had the ball, won the ball, but then he came. I don't know if it was it Tavares? No. Yes.
I think Michael Oliver's right on it, isn't he? And he just couldn't be closer and lets it go.
But again, I think you play on, and they played on. They played the ball out. They got back into their shape. They got for the corner, but I don't think you can blame too much on that. Anything on that, to be honest.
You can see Brendan though is visibly upset. But it was that first 20 minutes, the way that Arsenal, and I do feel that comes down to the tactics. Not trying to be smart about this, but he's had two really good wins against Manchester United and Brentford. So I fully understand why he wanted to go with the same system. But Villa did this in the previous match, and Arsenal completely thumped them. And in that first half an hour, Arsenal were asking a lot of questions. They gathered 2 goals, and really Leicester couldn't get back in it. It's because of that opening exchanges, and the tactics played a major part. And
they have to sort the defence out as well, Emile, conceding from corners, but also they've conceded, 17 goals this season. Only Norwich and Newcastle have conceded more than them this season.
I think that's one of the alarming ones. I think that's one of the ones that they'll probably be looking back and saying, well, how can we address that? They've got experienced players. They can't say they haven't got experienced players in there. They've got experienced defenders in there, and they'll be watching back, and they'll be looking back and saying, how can we actually stop this trend that we're conceding too many goals? I think it's 1 clean sheet all season.
Yeah, setback for them today. Are Arsenal fans starting to trust the process under Mikel Arteta?
100%. Certainly trusting the goalkeeper and rebuilding a reputation. Arsenal now a really tough outfit to play against, and they proved that again today.
Yeah, they're up to 5th in the league, Martin. Emile, thank you very much for your company today. A reminder that next Saturday we are bringing you Brighton against Newcastle, and we are on from 5 o'clock for that one. But right now, to take you through the afternoon's games, it's time for BT Sports Score. Jules and Daryl, have a good afternoon.